Whether you are playing a tabletop role-playing game, or acting in a theater, or recording a voiceover, being able to portray an array of different characters is a major skill. I'm going to cover some great and very practical techniques in this video, but what I'm not going to be talking about are accents. Accents are a wonderful way in which you can inject a lot of personality into your voices, but that is its own different skill set. What I'm going to focus on and what I'm going to explain and demonstrate here are going to be more bodily efforts and also the way in which you can utilize your imagination. You're going to be able to employ these physical and visualized elements in order to express many different distinct types of character voices. A big portion of these techniques are going to be drawing upon Laban Movement Analysis, or LMA for short. Laban Movement Analysis is a method and language for describing, visualizing, interpreting, and documenting human movement. LMA draws from multiple fields, including anatomy, kinesiology, and psychology. It is used by dancers, actors, musicians, and athletes, by health professionals such as physical and occupational therapists and psychotherapists, and in anthropology, business consulting, and leadership development. I also use a lot of visualization when I am voicing characters. I'll talk about that a lot as well. Essentially, what I'm doing is I'm using the imagination to produce images and sensations within. Then I'm going to take those visualizations and express it vocally, through gestures as well, for that matter. Even if you're only doing a voiceover or an overdubbing, the gestures still help. I'll give you two quick examples that you can contrast together here. It's going to illustrate a bit what I'm talking about. Then afterwards, I'm going to really delve into all these different techniques and parameters and aspects that you can draw upon when doing character voices. For the subject matter, going to be reading from some Conan, always chock full of really dynamic dialogue. Listen to him. The barbarian is an eagle who would fly to the jeweled rim of the tower, which is only 150 feet above the earth, with rounded sides slicker than polished glass.
Come, come, tell these poor fellows, who have only been thieves since before you were spawned, tell them how you would steal the gem.
So what I've done with the first voice is I've made it light. It's not a heavy voice that has a lot of weight to it, where I use my chest and my diaphragm. No, it just goes out through the throat and through the mouth. It nips at you as I speak. You can imagine a little dog nipping and nipping and nipping, or maybe tiny little arrows that just fire at you again and again. It's not a flexible voice that goes all over the place and shifts around and flits a lot like a dragonfly, or maybe some kind of nervous eccentric gnome. It's direct and focused. The speaker's jabbing and poking at you over and over again.
What I've done with the second voice is I've given a lot of weight to it. I'm drawing the voice up from below. I'm pulling up the heavy stones and setting them right onto you. This is not quick work, like someone pounding at your door or hammering in nails. No, it is the slow, plodding footsteps of a giant.
With these two examples, I really didn't use any accents. I didn't speak like someone who's from a different part of the world than where I'm from.
I didn't use any kind of cultural or ethnic flourishes to color the language in a different way.
And yet, the two voices sound uniquely different. Let's take a closer look at the Laban Movement Analysis, specifically the efforts. Effort, or what Laban sometimes described as dynamics, is a system for understanding the more subtle characteristics about movement with respect to inner intention. The difference between punching someone in anger and reaching for a glass is slight in terms of body organization. Both rely on an extension of the arm. The attention to the strength of the movement, the control of the movement, and the timing of the movement are very different, though. There are 4 effort factors. 3 of them really pertain to what we're talking about here. And these 4 factors are separated into 2 different sides, 2 different poles. There is the fighting polarity and the indulging polarity. The first effort factor is space. In the fighting polarity, we have direct effort. In the indulging polarity, we have indirect effort. We could also describe this dichotomy as focused versus unfocused, or rigid versus flexible. So if I only focus on space, what I'm doing here is I'm speaking in a direct way. My words are being projected directly at the listener. They're very consistent. They're very intentional. They have a certain singular motion to them. If I go with indirect effort, I might not even be looking at the person, and my voice just kind of goes where it wants throughout the space. It's a really flexible or even kind of up and down and all around way of speaking. It's not very confrontational at all. The second effort factor is weight. On the fighting polarity, we have strong effort. And on the indulging polarity, we have light effort. Other ways to portray these two are bulky versus slim, hard versus soft, corporeal versus incorporeal. So if we have a strong effort, you're really going to be feeling vibrations in your core, in your diaphragm. It's going to have a certain strength or force or heaviness to it. If you're using a light effort, your voice is really going to come out pretty gently. You're not going to feel it very much in the stomach or chest or core region. You're really just going to have this sort of breathiness that just pushes out gently in the throat and in the mouth. This is somewhat related to volume, but it's not exactly the same thing as volume, because you can have a heavy, strong voice but still speak at a low volume. And you can have a light voice but be speaking at a somewhat high volume. The third effort factor is time. On the fighting polarity, we have the sudden effort. And on the indulging polarity, we have the sustained effort. We could also call these quick versus slow, or rushed versus methodical. So with the sudden effort, you are going to have to be speaking with more immediacy, more urgency, with more quickness. It's a faster tempo. And with the sustained effort, you're going to take your time a little bit more. You're really going to be drawing out the sounds, particularly the vowel sounds, when you're speaking. The fourth effort factor is flow, but this one does not really play into as much as what we're talking about in this video. It doesn't really have so much to do with how you sound, but more what you're saying and at what length you're going to be saying it. On the fighting polarity, we have the bound effort, and on the indulging polarity, we have the free effort. We could also call these limited versus ongoing, singular versus continual, or contained versus open. Again, I'm not really going to delve into flow. It's not really about the actual voice. It's more like, is the character trying to accomplish something in the moment, or is she just in an open state? Is she taking aim at some immediate goal, or is this an ongoing subject that's going to be persisting over time? It's more related to dialogue patterns and what you need for whatever given scene. So the voice qualities or effort factors that we are looking at are space, weight, and time. Now you can just focus on one of these factors if you would like, that's fine. Or you can combine them together, which is going to give even more dimension and personality to the voice. So I'll demonstrate, and I'll start off just by focusing on them one at a time. So let's start off with weight. This is my normal speaking voice here, and now I'm going to make it stronger, tougher, heavier, massive. Now I'll make it lighter, softer, feathery, ethereal. Again, back to my normal way of speaking, we're going to go into the factor of space now. So here we go, I'm going to go into a more direct way of talking, and it's going to be more focused. It's going to be more confident. It can even be attacking, or it can get more indirect. It can relax. It can even be insecure or timid or daydreaming. Once more, back to my default voice, going into the factor of time. I'm going to get faster and more sudden. It's energetic, it's fast-paced, it's even rushing. Or sustained. It's going to be thoughtful. It's going to be careful. Maybe I'm savoring every word. Again, if you employ just one of these factors, you've already implemented a different voice. You're portraying a character now, someone who's not you, and carries with it some other kind of quality that is evocative of whoever this character is in the work. But let's start using multiple factors, combining the 3 dimensions together. That's really going to take things to the next level. The Laban system has actually named these, categorized the 8 different combinations of the 3 factors. So I've made a lot of notes here because this actually gets pretty detailed, and it's really worth you taking the time to make similar notes, especially when you're developing characters. It's really interesting if you analyze and observe the ways that you can mix and match the different effort factors. So first, we're going to dab. This is the first voice that I demonstrated. It nips, it picks, it taps, it pokes. Imagine a toothpick or a needle. It's just right there, poking right into the listener. Then we go from dab to flick. It's like all over the place. Imagine a kid at a toy chest. He's flicking out tiny little marbles and action figures and rag dolls going into the air. Now we float. We are an autumn leaf on the wind, blowing this way and that. The breeze is just wandering wherever it will. And from floating to gliding, now we're on a hang glider. We're pointed straight ahead. We've aimed the tip of it right ahead towards that landing space. Or imagine a dancer sliding with control right across the dance floor. Now we press. We are like a marching soldier. We must press onwards. We cannot waver, but neither can we rush like some erratic fool. I'm not a leaping, twirling ballerina. I am a grappler. I'm locking my opponent into an inescapable hold, using all of my weight. But then I spring to my feet, and I punch. I'm a boxer, or maybe I'm a warrior with a spear, and I stab, I thrust, I go forward, and I employ all the strength of my arms and my legs and my core, and you need to keep up with the attack. Then we slash. It's strong, it comes on fast, but it's not right at you. It's like a falcon. It sweeps over there, and then it sweeps over to there. It's like a carnival barker shouting, "Step right up, don't miss your opportunity." Or the voice rings, it twists, it writhes, it makes me think of a mad wizard or perhaps some sort of crazed fanatic. Is he on the brink of an epiphany or a total meltdown? As you've probably picked up on, I utilize visualization while I'm doing the voices. The imagination can be a great ally when you're producing different kinds of voices. You can imagine the character that you are portraying, or you can just imagine different kinds of objects or forces. It can often be helpful to imagine the thing, like the flicking little marbles or the stones, the heavy boulders that are being set right onto the listener. It can be as abstract or as concrete as you like, whatever helps you. What you want to do is you want to fill your mind or let the images come to you, whatever works best. So when you have this imagery in your mind, you're visualizing it, you're going to express that through your vocal delivery. Each voice is going to bring with it the spirit of a character or the spirit of some kind of object in motion, or maybe some kind of natural, elemental, or environmental force. If you can visualize that, if you can feel the spirit of it, the character is going to really come to life. Think of the stabbing spear, or a wall, an immovable stone wall, or sweeping blade, squeezing, twisting coils. Of course, this all takes practice, and like with any kind of skill, practice is key, but the great thing is that this is something that you can start doing right now. Anybody can start speaking faster, and anybody can draw out their voice. Anyone can speak more strongly and more deeply, and anyone can speak more shallowly and lightly. And anyone can speak more directly, where you are projecting your words directly at the listener, and anyone can go more indirect and just have their voice kind of wobble and warble and weeble and wobble. Here's a simple exercise that you can try right now. Get out a notepad and a pen, or a note app on your phone, whatever is best for you. Make some notes of an example voice and try it out. Use one or more of those different effort factors. You can use the same words that are from the Laban system, or you can use your own words that are synonymous or descriptive of how you imagine this voice to be. What sort of personality and even the aesthetic of the character. Write down the effect factors and any associated imagery that you want to visualize with this character. You might need to start simple, and that's fine. You can just write something like indirect, shy librarian. So imagine the librarian and practice speaking indirectly. You don't want a voice that's very consistent or confrontational. No, you just kind of putting it out there into the space. Or you can try something like direct, light, sudden, fully automatic BB gun. Then you start practicing speaking in a small voice. It's not heavy, it's very light and tiny, but it's very directed, aimed, intentional, consistent, fast. Try this exercise. You're going to hear the effectiveness of it right away. It's really incredible how quickly this can make a big difference. And then over time, of course, as you practice, you're going to get better and better. And pretty soon, each of these characters that you portray, just through your voice and your gestures, it's going to have a distinct, unique persona to it. And that's an incredible thing. It's going to improve whatever it is you're doing, whether it's a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, or acting in a stage play, or voicing a character in a YouTube animation. And there are so many other different types of attributes that you can combine with everything that we've discussed here so far. There's the mood of the character. There's all kinds of different accents that you could use. The voice could be nasally, or it could be throaty. It could be male, or it could be female. It could be an older person, or it could be a young person. This goes on and on. Play around with it, get creative, and you're going to stumble onto all kinds of interesting combinations. You might even end up creating a character just because you first stumbled onto a really quirky or cool voice. So that's what I have for now. I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you, as always, for watching my videos, and may your adventures be many.